We're talking Liverpool, a shock defeat for them at Brighton today. 2 good goals from Danny Welbeck got the job done for the Seagulls. And although, Tony, Liverpool are getting it done in the Champions League, in the Premier League recently, they've not been great. What did you make of their performance?
Yeah, first off, credit Brighton, right? Because came out Welbeck with the 2 goals, as you mentioned, right? Looked really good. Fabian Hurtzler's side, I think they're a fun team to watch when they really get going because they like to play. From a Liverpool side, though, it's been a roller coaster, right, in the Premier League for Arne Slot. And guys under a lot of pressure, right? He set such a high expectation last year, especially the early start that they got in the season. I think everyone expects all the time that you're going to live up to that level. But they made so many changes this year. The one thing you don't have in the Premier League is time, right? Especially the bigger clubs. But I still think he needs a little bit of time, right, to get all these guys on the same page, and it's been a little bit difficult for him. It's a talented side that I don't think this year so far has lived up to everybody's expectations.
A 10th defeat of the season for Liverpool in the Premier League. You actually have to go all the way back to the first season under Jurgen Klopp when they lost 10 games in the Premier League. So if you use that as your comparison, Chuck, they really haven't been good enough.
No, they haven't been good enough, especially this season, the inconsistencies that Tony's touching on. You lose a player like Luis Diaz, and look what he's doing and thriving with Bayern Munich. You also lose Trent Alexander-Arnold, someone who just provides service, and you're not getting that. There's no like for like with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Luis Diaz. Not only that, you bring in a player like Isak for so much money, and he only has 2 goals. He's injured most of the time. Now, Hugo Ekitike, I think, has done a terrific job coming in and settling in fast. But at the end of the day, you look at Mohamed Salah. This is a player who, Bob, you coached 29 goals last year with 18 assists. It's almost not even human the way he was performing last season to this year, 5 goals and 6 assists. If you don't have your talisman really producing at the rate that he was last year, which can cover up a lot of holes, now you're seeing a big drop-off.
Bob, there was that big discussion last season about the contract of Mo Salah. Should they or should they not give one to him? Will he be moving to the Saudi Pro League or somewhere else potentially? Do you think Liverpool are now looking at the form that Chuck talks about of Mo Salah and thinking, maybe we made a mistake giving him another contract?
I don't think so. I think Mo has earned his place at Liverpool. Even in a midweek game, everyone is so excited when Mo scores a goal, has some good assists against Galatasaray. But the press conference that came after, Slot talked about the difference between a game like that and Champions League, which was open, and then what it takes when you get back into Premier League and the games are so tight, spaces are so difficult. And to your point, the addition of the new players changed the team. Mm-hmm. And I think we also need to go back and think that the cloud from the unfortunate passing of Diogo Jota that sat over the club, I know how well liked he was. And so that and new players, they don't play the same. And so even on a day like today, Brighton tactically creates some overloads out wide, crosses into the back zone, and just an inability to deal with that. And that's where Welbeck comes alive when the ball gets into dangerous spots.
Bob, as Chuck said, you worked with Mo Salah earlier on in his career. What was he like to coach? And did you see glimpses at that time of what was to come at Liverpool later?
Mo's amazing. He just every day wanted to get better, open to coaching. I know that when he got at a certain point to Roma, I spoke to him and he felt that they didn't do enough finishing and training. And he actually then set up a field at his house where he could work on his finishing. So he's so committed. We see the Insta stuff that shows up in terms of him in the gym. He's a real pro. He's well-liked. And I root for him because I just think he's one of the best guys that you could come across.
I have a question just for Bob in terms of Arne Slot. You come in the first season, you got big shoes to fill, expectations for Liverpool supporters, probably high. I think around world football, everyone's like, not the most convincing hire. Will never match the heights of Jurgen Klopp, yet he wins in his first season. This year has not gone according to plan. How much do you put on him versus new players? You know, could there be things that he does differently that you see versus, you know what, it's really not much his problem, and, you know, over time, everything will work itself out?
Arne Slot is a very different manager than Klopp. And so the football, the intensity, the running numbers that were produced when Klopp was in charge, that has changed. And the balance of the team, I think this year, for me, Szoboszlai has been the best player.
Yeah, I agree.
But they've also used him in different roles. I think he's best in the midfield. And when you lose the qualities in the midfield, when your midfield is not covering, shifting, moving, stepping, doing all the things that were making them so successful, it puts more responsibility in other situations. And then you start to see more mistakes defensively. And I think it's just been something that's snowballed as the year went on.
Do you think he's going away from the Klopp model, which is then now you're seeing the results if Arne Slot went with his own style versus just I'm not going to break something
He tweaked a few things last year that worked. He certainly allowed Mo last year to have more freedom in attack, and they found good ways to defend behind him. And I think that's part of the reason Mo had such incredible numbers. But I think as a whole, when you start to lose that extra bit of intensity throughout the field, which was such a trademark, the tempo of their games. I've seen more games this year that just seem slower. Mm-hmm. And I think it'll be interesting now as we head down the stretch because they've got a lot to play for. Still quarterfinal matchup with PSG. Certainly that's probably high on the list, top on the list, but then getting ready for that final push in the league.
Yeah, so much has been made about Mo Salah and the numbers, right? And then just before going to AFCON, everyone said, well, hopefully he comes back from AFCON and he's the guy that scored goals. But we looked at last year was a record-breaking season, right? And we, at the beginning of the year, we took a vote here. We did the morning show. Throughout all these shows, we said, can Mo Salah do this again? And we all said no. Right? But then when the numbers don't look good, the expectation is, well, why isn't Mo Salah doing this? Right? Why isn't he at that number? This is why they brought in Ekitike, and this is why they brought, I get Isak's been injured, but this is why they brought guys like this. The one area of concern I've had for Liverpool the entire season, Trent Alexander goes away. They bring Frimpong in to play on the right-hand side, who, remember, at Leverkusen, I did the numbers the other day, 34 matches his last year. He played 29 of them as a right winger. 3 of them as an attacking midfielder and 1 at right back. And I said they had an expectation that it was going to be flying forward all the time, right? And it's just not been that for them, right? Frimpong has been a guy that's kind of been a tweener for them. As you mentioned, Szoboszlai, he's had to also play at right back as well, right? So they've had all of these issues to deal with throughout the season. But back to the Salah thing, I think he has set such a high standard that we have this expectation all the time that I think sometimes is unrealistic to live up to.
And if you took out Szoboszlai and his performances and his goals this season, where on earth would they be? I think we'd be talking about them, lower down towards mid-table. They do face a battle, though, to qualify for the Champions League for next season. We do think it's going to be because of the coefficient, 5 spots again for the Premier League. So that's the magic number. You've got to get inside the top 5. But you look at Chelsea, they'll be wanting to get there. You've got Aston Villa, who are currently inside the top 5. Chuck, do you think they're going to make it? Are Liverpool going to finish inside the top 5 in the Premier League?
I think Chelsea catch them. And the reason why I don't think they finish top 5, and obviously Villa have struggled as of late, but Liverpool have, not only do they have PSG in 2 legs in the Champions League, but they have Manchester City in FA Cup. They lose that game. Again, it's a potential trophy if they beat Manchester City, but they lose that game. And then if you lose the PSG, all of a sudden, the negative thoughts of things are going so wrong that we can't turn it around. They finished the season at Man United. They play Chelsea. That's the 6-pointer. Aston Villa and Brentford. Look at the last 4. By the way, at Everton, that's not an easy game. That Everton team has quality.
Well, and also on the last day, they played Brentford.
Yeah, derby match.
I mean, Brentford are in the picture as well. They could qualify for Europe. All of these games are hard. And to be honest, when you look at, you mentioned those 3 sides there, Villa, Chelsea and Liverpool, it's kind of a pillow fight. Neither of them are playing particularly well, are they? No one's in good form.
But do you have any confidence in Liverpool at the moment? For me, you can pull some things out. Chelsea, at times you say, okay, I can see where they can find success. And a lot of it relies on Cole Palmer. When Cole Palmer's in form and fit, and he creates so much havoc. And I don't think he's too far away from being that player. But when you look at Liverpool and you see their schedule, I just don't see them pulling out of this bad form anytime soon.
Bob, let's move it on to the Liverpool. We've got the Liverpool schedule there. Let's have a look at Chelsea in comparison. There are some difficult games in there, and they're playing up against teams who have got a lot to prove. Nottingham Forest, they're in the relegation battle. You've got United there, City, as we said, Spurs as well. It could mean a huge amount to them on the second last day of the season, given that relegation picture. Do you look at these Chelsea fixtures and think they have a better chance?
I think that's still also quite a tough schedule. And Chelsea is a hard team to understand. They have moments where you see the skill, the abilities, and then other moments where they lose their way. And they've had some tough games of late where when you watch the body language on the field, you're not sure. So I still think that you're going to see some games that are going to dictate. If a team wins a big game, do you get the momentum? When you see Man City, Man United, Brighton, 3 games, one after another, how are they going to come out of that?
Bob, as a coach, I just wanted to get one quick perspective for you on Liam Rosenior. Obviously, he's come in for some criticism recently, the performances. Obviously, he gives these interviews. He's quite an erudite character, maybe the different model to some of the coaches we've seen in the Premier League in the past. There was the notes that were being handed out in the Champions League. What would you say to a young manager like him? Is it a case of, just stick to your method, or perhaps does he need to think about the way that he's going about some of these things in order to translate better to his players? What would your message to Rosenior be?
Yeah, first, I wouldn't tell anybody how to manage, because I think you find your own style, your own personality. His style it fits with a little bit of new age in terms of a lot of data, a lot of analysis. But at the end of it, a manager's ability to connect with players, to set the right tone, to understand in different moments what's needed, what buttons to push, that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
That doesn't change. And I have such respect for Xabi Alonso, but what he ran into at Real Madrid is an example that understanding how to manage today's players. And you still see where Carlo Ancelotti, okay, he's now with Brazil, but that ability to understand a group, understand in different moments of the year what's needed, I think it's still so important.
Yeah, really interesting analysis. Go around the three of you, Liverpool or Chelsea. Who's going to make the Champions League, Tone?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
By the way, they both could.
Yeah, they could both. I mean, Villa could drop out, of course. But if you were to pick
right
between the two of those, who are you favouring?
You're coming to me first, Adam.
Yeah,
look at those schedules. I don't like the fact that Chelsea's got to play. I mean, it's easy to look at the two Man United sides, but the fact that they've got to play 2 teams that will be fighting Tottenham and Nottingham Forest in the relegation zone, right? Those games are not easy. That's where you drop a point or two. I think a little bit more experience on the Liverpool side right now, a little younger, not only team, but manager and Liam Rosenior. I'm going to go Liverpool if you had to put me on the spot.
Bob, you saying Liverpool or Chelsea?
Liverpool. Yes.
Okay, there we go. Straight in.
Simple.
Chuck?
You know what? Because the goalkeeper situation is so poor at Chelsea, I'm going to say Liverpool makes the Champions League over Chelsea.
How did you take this whole thing and turn it into a goal conversation?
I was just breaking it down in my head. You know what? And I was like, but between Jorgensen and Robert Sanchez, you're saying who can come up with that magical save, keep them in a game? It's not going to happen at Chelsea. And I believe in Liverpool's, still having Virgil van Dijk there. I think that makes a massive difference for them. Whereas Chelsea's back line, goalkeeper situation, sure, they might be a little bit more pragmatic at times with Rosenior as the manager, but in the end, I think the experience and the quality will take Liverpool over the top.